Okay guys, this is part 3. I may as well show you, seeing as I've shown you the rest of it. I have had this thing out. I've done about 100 miles or so before the chap came from Dublin down to pick the car up. The car is flying, absolutely flying. DPF has been removed, cleaned and refitted, and right now I can't remember the fault code, but I'm changing a brake booster, and that's my job at this point in time. So I'll put in a snippet of what is happening there. Okay. Pulled in to find us, turn off the car, started the car again. When I started the car, then I have that vehicle inspection message, and I'm just going to show you what fault I have, and this is a very common problem too. But I don't know if you're after leaving now at this point in time or not, or it'll definitely change the parameters of where you are. Vacuum pump control range / performance. It is a very, as I said, they're common problem on these things. I'll even try and show you. I probably have, if I went up the back now looking, I'd probably even have an older vacuum pump. These things can block with carbon. Oh, sorry, one second. These things can block with carbon. The vacuum pump is actually that piece sitting there. So there's our air box. There's the vacuum pump. What happens to them is carbon inside the engine gets into the actual vacuum pump, makes the vacuum pump fail, and it is a very common problem. I don't know what price it. I think the pumps themselves are about 250 quid or so. It is very, very common. Even Mazda done kind of a recall on them. I didn't have any code starting off after 2 days of driving. This is what I have. So right now, this is the position we're in. Again, a bit, the camera's going to swap the other way around because I was only doing it for the customer, but you'll see the fault codes and you'll see why I'm going at this. This is a very common problem. Happens to them all. Carbon inside the engine gets drawn up through the gauze, blocks little jets on top of the camshafts. Bits of camshaft, steel, wears and stuff when it gets into these things and damages and makes a mess of these things. I have a couple of them around. So I have old ones thrown around. They're actually on kind of they were reduced recently in price massively. They were about 400 euros, but they have reduced down to 200 euros or somewhere around there at this point in time, 250. So they are better value, but we'll go in and just see what we're doing. I'm at taking off an air intake pipe here. I'm hoping that I'm going to get this thing out fairly fast, fairly easy. There is one bolt, I believe, from memory, sitting in here that's awkward to get at, but I'm going to start tipping it away. I'm going to take out this bit of a intake pipe and just get myself a bit of room, okay? That's just popping off a couple of pipes. I didn't even take them out. I just popped them off and bent them out of my way, one or two, or a couple of fuel lines and stuff. Bolt sitting in here, bolt sitting in here, and the awkward one is a little bit in there. I'm not taking off any of this stuff. I'm hoping that I get into this, and best of my recollection, I think this slides out and I can get it out fairly easy. I may need to move this out of my way, but I'll find out now in a second. It's a little bit tight to get out of that bolt with a socket. Just fit it in. Come on. The last little twist. Don't drop it. I don't want to drop the bolt in here. Yeah, she's out in hand. There we go. Okay. One more. I think I'm going to lift that up out of my way a little bit, just to give it, what I'm looking at is my amount of room in here between this and this bracket. Now, I do have a steel pipe on it here, and I'll just pop out these T8s. The rest of them are flexible rubber hoses, and we'll just see will that come up a little bit. It'll give me room to get into that bolt anyway. Probably should go and take the tube off. But look, I'm in that bolt that's in there at this point in time. So we'll go and we get into that and see. After getting flat now. There you go. Okay, I think for the bottom one, come out. I'm going to get a universal joint and try and go down and attack in at an angle there. Okay guys, I'm in at that bottom bolt. I'm just using a little universal joint and a 1/4" ratchet. I'm not even going to attempt to put my hand on a ratchet and do that while holding the camera, because I know it'll flip and flop all over the place. So I'm going to get my second hand on the shank while I'm actually loosening it, okay? I'll take out that bolt. There's another one sitting in there, and I'm using a Swan Neck 10 spanner, okay? You can, where we're going. I can't even see it in the camera. Yeah, it's actually in there. You can see the spanner sitting in on it here, okay? You can go inside that, or you can come outside of it for a longer or greater range of movement. Alright, so that's number 4. I didn't even remember that. Now I can get it out, my fingers come out cracking it. Okay, number 4 bolt out, and it has just about popped out for me. I didn't go checking or testing on that. Why not? Very common problem. Fails all the time. There's a brake booster pressure sensor in here at the servo, somewhere around there, and that sees a drop in the ability of that to create vacuum. That triggers a fault. Sensors don't fail, pumps fail all the time. They're sitting in stock in the dealers. Have my sister picking up now, and yeah, that's it. Waiting for the new one to come, and as soon as it comes, we'll stick it back in. The exact same operation in reverse. We could take all this stuff off, but I don't feel like it. Just can change them without doing any of that crack. When you're putting it back together, make sure you're lining this shaft up in similar position on the new one. You can actually see in there where your slots are on the end of the camshaft, but again, all relatively easy. No sealer needed. There is a seal sitting around there that should do its job. A new one on the new pump should be just squeeze on, okay? Okay guys, just at the landing in hand is my new vacuum pump. As you can see, the 4 bolts, holes that are in it. I opened it up out of the packet. Any good tea? Yeah, that's it. Time for it to go back in. We can see the new seal and new gasket around there. I might put a bit of silicone spray on it, and that's it. Refitting it in the opposite direction. Okay. A fast look. Our yoke is the opposite way around. Spin around and get him back. Can I go that way? Can. Get him back in as similar a position as we can to the other one, okay? We can move that around when fitting it in to slip it in, but it should be all fairly straightforward once we have the positioning in the right place, okay? Okay guys, 4 bolts in and tight. A couple of fuel lines now to be fitted back on with that, vacuum pipes and stuff. But that's kind of going to be that. I'm going to continue and stick on a couple of these easy bits and I'll talk to you in a second. Okay guys, vacuum pump is fitted. I'm giving it a little bit of I've been around on a longer drive, but for now we're kind of pulling back down to the workshop. I don't know what miles are on it now, so I've done about 100 miles or so on this thing. We have ample loads and plenty of power. We're back to where we should be, and yeah, that is it. The job is done and complete. 1 second. It is done and complete, and we are ready to hand it back to the customer. Where do we go on this? There's nowhere really to go. Mazda 6s, there's always the 2.2 Skyactiv engine anyway. There's always something that's going to catch you. You're going to have it done and something is in the mix. I didn't see any faults to do with brake booster or vacuum pump or whatever it was, but the garage before me had been looking at it and had cleared faults. And also you'll find sometimes that other garages won't want you to fix it. They'll be kind of, if I got bet, well, you should be bet too, and they won't give you all the true information sometimes. And then you get a bar of them, lads would say, like myself, if I was stuck, I'd give the next man as much information as I could, as honest as I could as well, to get him to where he needs to go as fast as possible. But anyway, here's where we are, this thing. I didn't even talk to the other customer, so I can't, or sorry, the other garage man, so I can't even analyse that, but sometimes they mightn't be on your side. Yeah, that's it for this one. Don't get caught. Vacuum pump part 3, the finish of this Mazda 6. And lads, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you in the next cartoon. Thanks guys, Peter Kennedy signing out.